Jim Hartman.
Jim, tell me a little bit about you. Growing up, are you from Lebanon?
Actually, yes. I was born on North 10th Street.
Okay.
I even know which house it was in. And when I was, I think, 4 years old, we moved to Cleona, First Street in Cleona, Morningside Avenue.
Okay.
And that's where I grew up. I used to come over here all the time. This used to be my playground when it was still a mess.
And this is?
The Union Canal here.
Okay. And let's see, growing up, do I remember that you were in a band or something?
More than one.
Well, tell us a little bit about your music career.
Well, let's see. I started out with Frankie D and the Delights back in the early 60s. And I worked with him for a few years, and I went off to the service, came back, and through there I've been in 4 or 5 different bands until I had my last one. It was called Brotherhood, which we went for about 10 years together. Very nice people.
Well, I see, according to your hat, you were in the United States Navy.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
So I'd like to say thank you for your service and for keeping us safe.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. And tell me, where did you serve?
I was, our ship was out of Newport, Rhode Island. I was on a destroyer.
Okay.
And I spent time down in the Bay of Pigs when the Russian trawlers were trying to bring missiles into the United States area and that. So I was just off the coast there. Spent time in Guantanamo Bay for most part.
Okay, well, thank you again. And you met your wife where and got married?
Actually, I met my wife speaking with her cousin who I was in the service with. And I asked for somebody to, I said I like to write to people. And he said, why don't you write to my cousin? So I did. And I was in Boston, Massachusetts at the time on the naval base there. And I hitchhiked to see my wife the first time in Elmira, New York.
My.
In the dead of winter.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Wow. So, and that, the rest is history.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's nice.
I scared her away for a while, but third time I met her, I told her we were going to be married someday, and I showed her a picture of her and I sitting under a Christmas tree with her little niece. And I said, that'll be us someday. And then I got a Dear John letter when I went back.
Oh, dear.
But years later, she called me back again, and the rest is history.
Well, that's nice. That's a nice story.
And that's been over 50 years now.
Congratulations. So let's see, how about Mom and Dad? Tell me a little bit about them.
Well, my parents were very plain people. They worked, spent most of their life at the Keystone Weaving Mills, actually.
Okay.
My father was a foreman there until he passed away. My mother and father worked side by side most of their life together.
Wow.
In the same building, in the same room. And when my father passed away, my mother became the foreman for that part.
Really?
And she was there until they had the fire. She was 85, and then they laid her off.
Well, that woman worked a good long time.
Yes, she did.
She deserved a little retirement.
Well, she started when she was, I think, 14 years old working.
Do you have any idea if she was the first female foreman over there?
I don't know. She might have been there at Keystone.
I just think it's really interesting that they were progressive enough to put a woman in a foreman's position.
She knew, you know, my father and her worked side by side every day, and she knew everything about the business that he knew.
She was his apprentice and learned.
Yes.
That's great. I think it's really cool. That was something I didn't expect to find out today. Okay, so here we are at the Union Canal, and you and I kind of, I guess, connected through the Lebanon PA Over 40 group.
Absolutely.
And we go out to Heisey's Diner, and there's a great group of people that get together, and you're more or less the unofficial, official photographer.
I probably started it off when we had our first get-together, and I took some pictures, and I just started, being that my camera was always with me, and still always is, why I just started taking pictures, and it kind of gives the group an idea of who was there, and they get to actually know each other through that. Thankfully, John and some of the others, John Nye and some of the others, helped put some of the names to people, because I can't remember them all anyway. But I enjoy doing it, though I'm not a people photographer for the most part. Mine is nature, as you probably well know from a lot of the photos that I put up. But it gives us a chance to see who is there, and it just shows the camaraderie that we have together.
Well, you're capturing living history, both with your people photographs and the amenities we have with us today, like the Union Canal. And you've photographed most of those locks on the Union Canal, haven't you?
As many of them as I have been able to find in this area, anywhere from Myerstown up to close to Hershey, and some of them up through Pine Grove, up towards Pine Grove.
Which ones are you looking for yet?
I'm not sure. I know there's a bunch of them from where the old iron bridge went across that they closed off coming down to Jonestown, and I don't know.
Along Bunker Hill area?
Yeah, I don't know where many of those are coming down through from there.
So if there's some people watching that might be able to point you in the right direction, how would they get hold of you?
Well, I think they can probably find me on Facebook.
Just message you?
I have my Facebook page, and I'm open to messages anytime.
And how is your name listed on Facebook? Is there a
James
middle initial?
Hartman.
No middle initial?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And my picture is there.
Okay.
So
look at the beard and the glasses, and you'll know if it's you.
Yes.
All right. So I also observed some of the wonderful, in fact, I've used some of them, and I've left you know that because you tell me, tell everybody, promote the facilities. And
Absolutely.
so you just took an awesome picture from the top of the canal, which I haven't seen that one done before, as the boat's passing under, and it looks like you're in a castle because there's all these points and everything. I love that picture. It was so unique. And I love pictures with people in them. I just think it adds to the picture.
Well, if I can find, I always, anything I take a picture of, I try to incorporate something that gives you some perspective of where you're at and what it's like. I mean, if you just take a picture of the sky, you can't tell much from it. So I try to get a tree into it or something, or if there's something here, if I can find people walking along the path. I mean, not necessarily being a people photographer, but if I find people that are incorporated in there, it helps to give people an idea of the, a perspective of what the area is like.
The other one that you took that I really like is the inside of the tunnel, because I've floated through the tunnel numerous times, and I see little drill marks here and there, but you just have it so bright. Did you use a big flash? How did you take that?
No, actually, I think probably part of what caused that, it was wintertime, it was frozen.
Oh, so there was reflection of the light.
And I actually walked out onto the ice after knowing that it was safe.
Yeah.
I got fairly close to the tunnel, but not in. But taking the picture from there and having the flash go off it reflected on the ice, which gave it more light. And I was even surprised when I looked at the photo at home, because I didn't notice that, in that second of flash.
It is such an impressive photograph of the inside of the tunnel. It's the best one I've ever seen. And I had a collection from Ivan Ponting, who was a semi-professional photographer, lived out here in the, I want to say, Heilmandale area near the landfill. And his wife and I, Harriet was her name, I used to pick her up and we'd do watershed events together. And when he passed and she passed, their son, I think and his wife were in school with me. I'm not sure which year they graduated, but at any rate, he knew I worked with his mom a lot, and he said, I want you to have these pictures. He gave me the pictures, and then I had the fire at my shop, and all the negatives were just watered together. I thought, oh, these are gone. Another fellow that helped here at the tunnel, Jim Shucker, I talked to him about it, and I said, Jim, I'm so sad that this happened. He said, Joellen, if we may use the pictures, may I try and get them apart? I said, I would feel so blessed, because I feel terrible that I didn't know how to protect them from that fire. And sure enough, he put them in solution and they slid apart, and then he printed those pictures. So then he gave me a set, and he has a set for the Historical Society. So all of these historic photos document periods in time, and you're continuing that tradition with your wonderful photographs. And, you know, it's just something that I thoroughly enjoy, is local history and capturing people in them to see their dress and the activities they're doing. And like here, there's a lady walking with 2 little dogs. Isn't that sweet? And she has a water pack on her back so she can drink her water or feed them water. But it's just such an interesting hobby. And these days, it's not nearly as expensive as it used to be.
Oh, no.
We don't have to develop the film. We can share them on Facebook.
And if you find that you have pictures that did not turn out right, you didn't waste a lot of money, you just delete them.
And you can lighten them and things like that. There's these wonderful editors right on your phones. You don't have to pay people to edit them. So photography has come a long way.
Yes, it has.
And I thought I won't be able to get to the next Over 40 meeting, and I wanted to interview you to share with the group. So I hope you don't mind that we post this on Facebook and let them know where your passions come from and your background.
Well, this type of thing here is my passion. It's strange. When I was young, I didn't have a tremendous interest in history or anything like that. And it's only been though I've spent outdoors an awful lot. One of my best friends that has been for over 50 years and part of the group, a fellow by the name Harry Mann, who was also a band member for me. Harry and I spent a lot of years that we used to go hiking a lot in these areas around here and up around Pine Grove. I can say one thing, it's amazing to me what they've done here, the people that have done to clean this place up, because when I was a kid and used to walk over here with my friends, this was much narrower. It was all totally overgrown. There was barely a dirt road going along the side here. So what they've done to bring this back, and the whole area, you have beautiful picnicking areas and things like when they did the show here the other week that I was fortunate enough to get a few pictures of. It's just amazing. It's a wonderful place to come. I spend a great deal of my time here. If I want to go for a walk, I can go for a nice long walk up through there, back onto the rail trail, which is being redeveloped, and I'm happy to see that. Yes,
it's going to be connecting right down there, I believe. And I'm told that the log cabin will start over here this month yet. So I know I'm going to get pictures. I know you're going to get pictures. I see a future film coming with us two collaborating. What do you think?
Fine.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Oh, you're